In this video, we are talking about song structure for beginners. So if you've ever been confused about, well, what exactly is a chorus or a verse or a post-chorus, this is the video for you. So the first thing we need to understand about song structure is that songs aren't atomic. Instead, they are made up of different parts. So yes, it's true that a song is a singular thing, but it is also true that a song is made up of distinct parts. Now, although these parts are distinct, they also make up the whole that is the song, and this is what we would call song sections. Just as a simple illustration, essentially, if your song is a house, then song sections are the rooms that are in your house. Now, there are three core song sections that I think are absolutely imperative to understand, because these are song sections that we see throughout all kinds of music, and these are the three most basic song sections. And the first song section we need to know is the verse. At a very high level, essentially, a verse is a song section where every time the music will be the same, meaning the chord progression and the melody will be the same, but the lyrics will be different. Now, it isn't always the case that the lyrics change, but it's pretty rare to have a song where there is really just one verse that repeats. Very often songs will have 1, 2, 3, or sometimes even 4 verses where, again, the melody is the same and the chord progression is the same, but the lyrics will be different every time. Now, because this is a song section that we can return to musically over and over and over again, but usually has different lyrics each time, this is a great song section to tell the story of your song. And because of this, the verse is usually the song section that handles most of the story. And two other common tendencies are that the verse tends to be the first song section. Very often you will have a song structure like verse, chorus, bridge chorus, or verse, chorus, where usually we start with the verse. And another tendency is the verse is the most low-key, calm part of your song. Now, this doesn't mean that it is low-key or calm, but usually this is where the vocal melody will be lowest and where the overall energy of the song will be lowest. Usually we want to save the big energy for song sections like the chorus. And speaking of the chorus, the main tendency of a chorus is that this is a song section where both the music and the lyrics repeat. Now, again, this is a tendency, not a rule. There are certainly plenty of songs that have choruses that change lyrics either each time it's repeated or, more commonly, to have a final chorus at the end of the song where the lyrics are different than all the other choruses. But whether the lyrics repeat or not, this is almost certainly going to be the musical peak of any given song. When it comes to the biggest, most epic part of your song, this is going to be the chorus. Again, there are some exceptions, but if you have a verse or a bridge being the most epic part of your song, probably you're doing something wrong and the chorus needs to be made better. Another tendency is that usually the chorus is utilizing the highest vocal range. This is a part of what makes a chorus more inherently epic and big sounding than the rest of the song. And because the chorus is the musical peak of the song and often repeats the lyrics, this is usually where the central theme of the song comes from. Very often the verses are covering the story, and then we go to the chorus where we repeat the theme. And because the chorus is concentrated on that central theme, very often the song title will also come from the chorus. So then, of the core three, the only one left is the bridge. And a bridge tends to be a song section that does not repeat musically or repeat lyrically. Seen another way, the bridge is usually an alternate section that happens once and only once and never comes back. A tendency of bridges is that it is the biggest musical departure from the rest of the song. If we think of verses, choruses, and bridges, very often the one that is most different from the other two is going to be the bridge. For instance, if your song were going to go into the relative minor key for a song section, it would almost certainly be the bridge, not the verse, and not the chorus. And because the bridge tends to be the biggest musical departure, this usually is also true of the lyrics. Very often in the lyrics, this is where we will handle the big change or the big reveal or some sort of twist. One way I like to look at the bridge is while the chorus is the musical peak of the song, the bridge is usually the story peak of the song. Because the chorus is handling theme usually, and the verses are handling story, very often the bridge also handles the story, but it represents the climax or peak of of the story or perhaps the resolution of the story. So in short, with the 3 core song sections, the chorus tends to be the musical peak, the bridge tends to be the story peak, and the chorus repeats both musically and lyrically, usually, and the verse tends to repeat musically but not lyrically, and then the bridge tends to happen once and only once throughout the song, both musically and lyrically. So there are 2 other common song sections that I think we have to cover, the pre and post chorus. A pre-chorus is named that way for a reason. There's a reason we don't call it a post verse, even though usually where it sits is after the verse and before the chorus. And that is because fundamentally it is there to set up the chorus both lyrically and musically. If the pre-chorus has one job, it is to essentially make the chorus hit even harder when it comes. These can be super effective if you want to build more musically before you get to the chorus, sort of like steps. You have the verse, and then you step up to the pre-chorus, and then you step up to the chorus. Or it can be very effective to actually dial down the energy from the verse so that you have a verse, and then the energy goes down to the pre-chorus so that the chorus feels extra epic. And beyond that, we want to make sure that both harmonically and with our lyrics we are setting up for the chorus. For instance, in a pre-chorus, very often you will avoid using the 1 chord at all, or certainly not the root position 1 chord, because you want the pre-chorus to feel like it's not at rest and it's going somewhere. And you want the chorus very often to have that big 1 chord. So very often in a pre-chorus, you'll have something like a 4 chord and a 5 chord, and then that leads into the 1 chord at the beginning of the chorus, which will really help it to sound huge. Now, I probably shouldn't have to say this, but that is far from a rule. That's just a tendency, and there's a reason that tendency exists, because the 5 chord to the 1 chord is the most powerful transition we have when it comes to 1 chord to another. So a great place to have that is the end of the pre-chorus is the 5, which desperately wants to go to the 1, and then the chorus delivers the 1 right at the beginning. So then that leaves the post-chorus, which is the most modern song section of all, really coming into popularity, probably even in the 2010s, honestly. And this song section is essentially just a chorus after party, or you could see it as sort of the encore to the chorus. Essentially, the post-chorus is really just a way to keep that chorus energy, that peaking energy, going for longer. And a tendency with post-choruses is if they have lyrics at all, they tend to be very, very simple. And this is because very often with the post-chorus, we have more of a hook than a full melody. So very often that hook will actually not be with vocals at all. It might be with guitar or with a synth sound, especially common in the 2010s for sure. But we also might have one simple lyric that repeats over and over that's very hook-like. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you want more help when it comes to song sections, be sure to check out my Ultimate Song Sections cheat sheet, which is at songwritertheory.com/song sections. This cheat sheet not only gives the tendencies of different song sections in bullet point form, but it also has a bunch of different songs for you to listen to with timestamps of exactly when each song section starts, so that you can learn to identify song sections by ear and apply that to your songwriting. Be sure to check it out, songwritertheory.com/song sections. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll talk to you in the next one.